Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the football field here at Milford High School as Milford TV is once again happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call as we begin week 3 of the high school football season. The Milford Scarlet Hawks come into tonight's contest with an 0-2 record, and they welcome in their first Davenport Division rival of this 2018 season in the 2-0 Canton Bulldogs. Milford opened up their home schedule last week with a matchup against the Franklin Panthers. It's been an exciting rivalry between those two teams in recent seasons, but it ended up being an entertaining first half, but quickly became a one-sided affair in the second half as Franklin was able to score a touchdown actually right as time expired at the end of the first half, and they did not look back from there. They ended up taking the game against Milford by a final score of 21-0. And so Milford suffering losses in back-to-back weeks to open the season, something that has become, unfortunately, a bit of a regular tradition over the last few seasons. The second year in a row, Milford has opened the year at 0-2. But, of course, last season they were able to overcome that slow start and eventually work their way into a playoff spot. So they hope to do the same this season, and getting into now the most important part of this regular season is now all teams start to open up division play. And so for Milford, that begins here tonight against the Canton Bulldogs. This has typically been a favorable matchup for Milford in recent seasons. In the previous 4 seasons, Milford is 3-1 against the Bulldogs, including a victory, a very close played game last season up at Canton High School. Will Pointer was able to open the scoring in that game with a 51-yard touchdown run. But it stayed a one-score game essentially all the way through, and what ended up being the big difference maker in that game last season was the kicking game. We always talk about what a valuable weapon Sean Lehane is for this football team, and he certainly proved it in the game last season against Canton as Lehane was able to make all of his extra points. And on the Canton side, they ended up missing a key extra point and a 2-point conversion early on in that game, in a game that Milford ultimately won by just 2 points, winning 21-19. So it ended up, again, being a big weapon for Milford, so we'll see if that ends up coming into play in this matchup here. But for Canton, they've gotten off to a very good start so far on the season, 2-0, a victory in week 1 against Dighton-Rehoboth High School, a 25-20 win, and then it was all Canton last week in a 42-6 blowout victory over the Bellingham Blackhawks. So Canton comes in very good position. Milford looking to grab that elusive first victory. And taking a look at some of the keys to the game for the Scarlet Hawks this week, they really hope to dictate pace more in the game this week. They haven't been able to execute the way they would have liked in these previous 2 weeks, in particular on the offensive side of the ball, allowing their opponents to eventually build up leads and really be able to dictate the tempo, in particular in the second half of games. And for Milford, they've also seen their first 2 games play out in very similar fashion. Closely played first halves, a short lead for their opponents heading into halftime, but it's been the third quarter in both week 1 and week 2 that has provided the separation for opponents. As, again, both times Milford has allowed 21 points to their opponents. Milford was able to score a late touchdown to avoid the shutout in week 1. They were not able to do the same last week, so just 7 points so far on the season for the Scarlet Hawks. So that, of course, brings us to our next key of the game, which is Milford needing to find that rhythm on offense. They have not been able to do it, and perhaps we'll see if the recipe for success this week is to start to simplify things. We saw a lot of different looks on offense for Milford last week against the Franklin Panthers. As a matter of fact, on the first series of the game, we saw quite a bit of wildcat out of the Scarlet Hawks, with Chappelle Feaster taking a lot of direct snaps on those first couple of series of the first quarter. We also saw Ryan Pearl in the war package worked in early, and of course Colby Pires in the spread offense made an appearance as well. So 3 different looks on offense through a lot of the first half. We ultimately saw mostly Colby Pires in the second half once Milford fell behind, but we'll see if perhaps the coaching staff decides to go with 1 look and stick with it for this game to try to get players a little bit more comfortable in their roles. And again, try to get something generated on offense. The passing game has not been there with a lot of consistency for the Scarlet Hawks this season, and they have not been able to get much running room as well. So it really has been a work in progress for the offense. It's really what we said from day 1 of this season, trying to fill some big holes in this team from last season, thinking about the contributions that we saw on offense last year from players like Will Pointer and Ryan O'Toole, and of course Caden Kelly. A lot of good quality skill players graduating this past spring. Joey Everett as well. A lot of electric players that could get a lot done. Milford has those players, but they need to find a way to get those players to play up to their potential. Of course, we've seen a lot of Chappelle Feaster in these early games of the season. He has certainly given the team plenty, but it's time for some other players to start to step up and make this offense a little bit harder for other teams to defend. looking for more out of the likes of Hugo Lopes and Luke Rosa this week in the running game, and a little bit more out of Brendan White as well. Chappelle Feaster carrying the load through much of the Week 2 game against Franklin last week, and unfortunately suffering some injuries in the second half, some cramping issues for Chappelle Feaster that really plagued him through the second half of the game last week. It's some cooler conditions here this week than what we had a week ago, so that might help alleviate those cramping issues, but hopefully Chappelle Feaster is hydrated and ready to go to be able to make it through the full 4 quarters here tonight. And of course for Canton, some key players on offense for this team to be aware of, for Milford to be aware of. First and foremost, they're going to have to give plenty of respect to Gersom Rivera, who has been getting it done really in all aspects of the game for the Bulldogs. Rivera has scored 4 touchdowns in 2 games so far on the season. That includes 2 rushing touchdowns, a touchdown reception, and also a 49-yard interception returned for a touchdown last week against Bellingham. So he has been scoring in a lot of different ways, providing a lot of electricity for this Canton offense. So that is something that Milford needs to be aware of. And they also need to be aware of the starting quarterback for this Canton team. We expect to only see one quarterback on the night on the Canton side after seeing a duo under center for Franklin last week. It is junior Johnny Hagan, who is back for his 2nd season under center for the Bulldogs, and he has gotten off to a very good start this year as well. He's so far thrown for 3 touchdowns. He's also rushed for 3 touchdowns, and 2 of those rushing touchdowns have gone for 30 yards or more. So a very mobile quarterback, also with a very accurate arm. So this offense has some weapons, and Milford is going to have to be ready for them. We mentioned it, the series against these 2 teams over the years has gone in Milford's favor, a 3-1 record for Milford in the last 4 meetings. Canton, in a year last year in which they went 5-6 overall on the season, won just 1 game in the division. So this looks to be a much improved Canton team, but they're going to have to start to prove it against their division opponents as we get deeper into the season. Of course, the division matchups start this week. So we'll start to see which teams rise to the top in the Davenport division standings. And while we have an opportunity as we continue to wait for the Scarlet Hawks to take the field, we'll take an opportunity to start to go through some of the division standings for the Hockomock League so far this year. And just quickly taking a look at the Davenport side of those standings. A 2-0 record so far for the Canton Bulldogs. As we bring those up on the screen right now, Canton, technically everyone without a record in the division standings, so we'll really start to see these standings take shape in the weeks to come. But right now, Canton coming out of the gate strong, 2-0 so far on the season. They've scored a total of 67 points through their first 2 weeks. Foxborough, a tough start at 0-2. They've scored just 6 total points through those first 2 games. Milford, just 1 point better. They've scored a total of 7 points through their first 2 weeks of the season. They are 0-2. North Attleboro at 1-1, Sharon at 1-1, and the Stoughton Black Knights also at 1-1 on the season. And over on the Kelly Rex side, you see Milford's 2 opponents so far on the year. They've both gotten off to very good starts. Attleboro and Franklin both at 2-0. King Philip 1-1 so far on the season, as are the Mansfield Hornets, with Oliver Ames right now 0-2, and the Taunton Tigers are also 2-0 so far on the season. So that's a look at your Hockomock League standings coming into this key Week 3. As right now you see the youth football players out there on the field, anxious to carry those banners and lead the team out onto the field. This is also a very special night. Milford doing an excellent job of always making these home games have a special meaning. And for tonight, it is Teacher Appreciation Night. And this is something we've seen the football team organize the last several seasons, as we'll see the senior players bring out a teacher who has impacted them greatly in their 4 years at Milford High School to bring them out to have some recognition. And so we expect to see that teacher appreciation ceremony at halftime after the marching band has their halftime performance. So of course we'll have that for you here on our live stream. And with that, we want to welcome in everyone tuning into our live streaming coverage here tonight. If you are tuned into us via the live stream app or on milfordtv.net, we welcome you, getting set to bring you a very exciting matchup between the Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Canton Bulldogs, which we expect to get underway in just about 5 minutes from now. So again, Milford looking to get their first victory of the season. Canton looking to make it 3 straight wins out of the chute. And so very happy to bring that coverage to you here on Milford TV. We still await for the football team to make their presence, so we will take a very quick time out here. And when we come back, we will have you ready for Milford versus Canton. Friday night football under the lights here in Milford. And we have it all for you right here on Milford TV.
And now, fans, please welcome to the field your Milford High School Scarlet Hawks.
Both teams have now taken the field here at Milford High School, which means we are just moments away from football as the captains right now meet at midfield to go over ground rules and, of course, the coin toss as well. The officials out there as Milford has their tri-captains of Ryan Pearl, Brendan White, and Josh Lagore. 5 captains on the Canton side as the coin toss is ongoing. It looks like the opponents, Canton Bulldogs, have won the coin toss, and just as Franklin did last week, Canton elects to defer, and so Milford will have a chance to bring their offense out onto the field first. So for Milford, a team looking to get things in gear offensively, they'll have a chance to come out right away, and we'll see if they can get an early lead for the first time on this season, as again Milford comes into this week 3 matchup at 0-2. Canton comes in at 2-0. And so 2 teams trending in different directions. We'll see the outcome as this game progresses here tonight. Excitement in the stands. Once again, a good crowd forming here for the 2nd straight home game for the Scarlet Hawks. It's the 2nd of just 3 home games that Milford will play before the playoffs are decided. So the fans excited to see their team on this crisp fall-like night, our last official day of summer here today. But starting to feel like fall, and excited to get this game going. It is time for the national anthem, so we'll take one more timeout, and then we will have the opening kickoff between Milford and Franklin here on Milford TV. The Milford Scarlet Hawks take the field as we get this week 3 matchup started. Milford versus Canton. Canton deferring the opening coin toss a moment ago, so the Scarlet Hawks will receive. Canton getting set to kick the ball away. We expect to see a pair of Lahanes on kicking duties for both of these teams during this week 3 matchup. Sean Lahane, of course, on the Milford side, and a Lahane on the Canton side as well, who took care of kicking duties last week, which led to some good-natured chatter on the Milford practice field as this past week went on. It is Owen Lahane who does kicking duties on the Canton side. Number 54, Owen Lahane, lined up right now and set to send this ball away to the Scarlet Hawks. A high spiraling kick all the way out to the 5-yard line, and again we see a bobble on the opening kickoff by the Scarlet Hawks. They're able to recover and get out just past the 10-yard line before the Canton special teams closes in. So once again, sloppy on the opening kickoff reception for the Scarlet Hawks. The 2nd week in a row we have seen that. Of course, you remember the dramatics that took place in the opening minute of play last week as Milford fumbled that opening kickoff. They recovered only to fumble and lose it on their first play from scrimmage. Franklin took over on offense and then fumbled themselves to give Milford possession back. So ball security also a key to this game for Milford. We also saw a lot of low snaps as the game went on last week as well. Right now we will not see that problem as Ryan Pearl and the War package line up for this first snap of the game. Pearl taking the direct snap, and it's a short handoff up the middle for a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7 after the 3-yard gain for Milford, traveling from left to right across your television screens here in the first half. Pearl again takes the snap, hands it off as the sweep goes to the far side. Some good running room this time for Milford as they're able to get the first down, busting out to the 30-yard line before finally being forced out of bounds. So a good play on the ground that time for the Scarlet Hawks. I believe that was Luke Rosa who was able to get that first down carry. Milford upping the tempo here after the first down. The chains were barely set as the snap was released, and this time a short gain again up the middle. That looked to be Brendan White on the carry. So 2-yard gain sets up 2nd down and 8. Again, it was the Wildcat that debuted first on offense for Milford last week. Tonight it is the War package, as now we see a fumble on the second down carry, and Canton is able to recover. Kyle Fitzgerald was able to pull that ball away. And so a turnover on the opening drive of the game for Milford for the second straight week. So again, those ball security problems, mentioning it just a moment ago. And all of a sudden now Canton in great position as they're able to take over from the Milford 29-yard line. It's first down and 10. And this is an offense, as we mentioned, that's put up 67 points through the first 2 weeks. And they will hand it off up the middle on first down. And the carry by Kyle Fitzgerald, who's able to get ahead for a few yards. The Milford student section trying to do their part, assisting their defense that is put into an uncomfortable situation here after the offense coughs it up on the first drive. Canton taking their time inside the huddle as we tick down to 9 minutes to play in this opening quarter. As we mentioned in the open, Johnny Hagan, the quarterback for the Bulldogs,
right here,
took over as a starter in his sophomore year, now back with a year of experience under his belt. A lot of the preseason, I should say, assessments from the Hockomock League were very high on Johnny Hagan as being one of the most reliable quarterbacks returning.
yeah.
Meanwhile, a very short gain on third down. It will set up third down and 9 for the Bulldogs. So this Milford defense trying to make a stand. Hagan now lined up with a running back to his left. A man in motion from right to left as Hagan looks to throw, and the ball is intercepted by Brendan White heading down the near sideline, and he gets wrapped up. A shoestring tackle eventually made by the quarterback, Johnny Hagan, but not before White gets inside Canton territory. So history repeating itself here on the Milford football field for the second straight week as we see an exchange of turnovers. And Brendan White really read that play well. He was able to jump the route for Kyle Fitzgerald, and he was able to make the clean interception and race past the 50-yard line, setting up the Milford offense at 1st and 10 from the Canton 44. And so the war package out there again as Luke Rosa has no room to work. As he tried to race to the far sideline, he ends up getting taken down, and that's going to be a loss of a couple yards. And so a big loss there as it will now be 2nd down and 15, 5 yards lost as now Pearl rolls out. He's able to make the completion, and that's going to get that negative yardage back as the catch was made by C.J. Sorella. It was able to gain 4 yards back to set up 3rd down and 11. And it looks like now in the 3rd down and long situation, Coach Bazakis will deploy Colby Perez. With 6.5 minutes to go in this first quarter, we see Chappelle Feaster now split out wide to the near side. Myers clapping the hands from the shotgun, now takes the snap, loses the pocket. He's able to get the throw away. And Perez able to get to his feet, looks to his sideline, unhappy. Afterwards, he stood in there and took a hard hit. And came into his blind side. You wonder if he saw it coming. He was able to stand in and deliver the throw before getting knocked to his backside. And the pass was intended for Chappelle Feaster, but it was incomplete. And Milford now will line up to punt. So despite getting the boost from the interception by Brendan White, the offense not able to get anything done. And seeing some early movement on the line, a flag comes in. Stops the clock with 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. So we wait for the call from the referee down on the field. And a false start by Milford, so this will push Sean Lehane back 5 yards to make the kick again.
4th down and 16 from the 50.
Lehane hoping to pin the Bulldogs deep. There's plenty of time, and a high kick will take a bounce in Canton's favor. Canton opting to play it, and Milford able to close in to bring the return man down right at the 10-yard line. It was Kyle Fitzgerald who watched that big bounce. It looked like that was maybe going to take a roll into the end zone, but Fitzgerald decided to make the play on it, and he was eventually wrapped up quickly by Milford.
Watch out, I'm going to be moving back here.
And so the Bulldogs will come back out on offense with starting field position from their own 10. So a much longer field for Johnny Hagan to work with. Yes, James Murphy in the backfield. Now it's Gersom Rivera on the end around. Rivera able to get a good burst forward, and his teammates come in and support to push the pile forward and assure that Rivera came through with the Canton first down.
Yep.
You can see the coaching staff not happy on the sideline. We didn't have a chance to talk about it in our broadcast last week, but of course Milford with quite a defensive mind on the sidelines now this season, as Dana Olson joined the Scarlet Hawks coaching staff as assistant head coach and defensive coordinator. Of course, Coach Olson leading the Millis Mohawks to back-to-back Super Bowl championships not too long ago. So it's quite a coaching staff that Coach Vizakis has assembled. Handoff now to Fitzgerald on second down. And Fitzgerald able to make his way just shy of the 30-yard line. They mark him down to be right at the 28.
5-yard gain on the play. Second down and 5 for Canton at their own 28.
First quarter clock continues to wind down. This next snap will come with under 5 minutes to go. Second down and 6. And the quick toss to Fitzgerald. He's gotten a lot of work here so far on these first two drives for the Bulldogs.
Kyle Fitzgerald, the ball carrier.
Fitzgerald taken down, and they will say he did get the first down.
His rush is good enough for a Canton first down.
So a couple of first downs already on this drive now for Canton. And it's been all ground game so far after Hagan threw the interception on his lone pass attempt on their previous possession. With 4.5 minutes to go, the quick toss over to Gersom Rivera, the same play that got them the first down earlier. This time he flies ahead and ended up losing his footing as he took the ball to the Canton 49-yard line. Fortunate for Milford that Rivera ended up losing his footing. You could see there the quick acceleration out of the junior. So Canton continues to move the chains, now getting themselves to midfield. It's Fitzgerald in motion, but the give goes up the middle to Murphy. And Murphy is immediately wrapped up and thrown down hard. That looked to be Hugo Lopes with that tackle. So Milford meeting Murphy at the line of scrimmage that time, so it will be second down and 10. With 3.5 minutes to go, a second down and 10 for the Canton Bulldogs. No score yet, as this time the quarterback will run it himself. Johnny Hagan up the middle, and Milford having a hard time bringing him down. They finally do so. He was able to get a couple of extra yards after contact to eventually bring the ball inside Milford territory down to the 47. And so it'll be a 3rd down and 6. So will we see another pass attempt out of Hagan? That Milford student section once again raising their voices in support of their defense. Milford readies themselves for an early key defensive play as now Hagan will run it himself, has plenty of room for the 1st down on the far sideline, spins off of one tackle and finally gets brought down at the Milford 30. A 17-yard gain on 3rd down by the quarterback, Johnny Hagan. So we talked about it before the start of this game. Hagan can get it done with his legs. He's broken off some long runs himself so far on the season. So with all of this ground game on both sides, the first quarter now already down to the final 2 minutes. Last week, the first quarter was a productive one for the Bulldogs offense as they pitch it back to Fitzgerald. And Fitzgerald gets, looks like 2 yards on the play. Gersom Rivera running for 2 touchdowns right out of the chute for the Bulldogs last week against Bellingham. A 3-yard rushing touchdown, and then it was the 49-yard interception returned for the touchdown. Hagan also ran for a 48-yard rushing touchdown, so 3 TDs in the first quarter alone for the Canton Bulldogs last week to quickly put that game out of reach. Trying to get on the scoreboard first here. And Hagan this time will drop back to throw. Has Fitzgerald deep. He makes the catch, diving towards the end zone. The ball comes loose as he reached for the goal line, and he gets the touchdown. A 27-yard touchdown hookup between Hagan and Fitzgerald. And so indeed, Canton will strike first. They take a 6-0 lead with the point after coming up. Fitzgerald getting contact there right at the end. Reaching for the goal line. The ball came free momentarily, but Fitzgerald was able to fall on it into the end zone to finish off the 27-yard touchdown. And Owen Lehane now lined up for the point after attempt. And it is good. So with 1 minute and 4 seconds to go in this first quarter, Canton able to strike first after the touchdown catch. It is a 7-0 lead for the Bulldogs over Milford here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Lehane now quickly kicking the ball away back to the Scarlet Hawks, and that ball makes its way all the way out of the end zone. A booming kick for Owen Lehane. And so Milford will have an opportunity to start the second drive from their own 25-yard line, excuse me.
First and 10 Milford from their own 25-yard line.
And it is Colby Perez who leads the offense out for now their 3rd possession. And Perez on first down, fakes the handoff, looks to run it himself, had some open space, but ended up getting tripped up. Good play at the line by Canton. And Perez will have to settle for the 2-yard gain. 47 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Perez stays on the field for the 2nd down and 8 play. And he will look to throw. Looks to send it deep down the far sideline, looking for Sean Lehane. once again playing wide receiver, pulling double duty now in his senior year, but could not catch up to that pass from Perez, and it will now be 3rd down and 8. Lehane looked to slow down a bit as he raced down the sideline, trying to catch sight of where that pass was coming. So 3rd and 8.
It's like 5 seconds at a time.
Perez with a back to his left. Hugo Lopes in motion as Perez drops back, throws it over the middle, completes it to Brendan White, who immediately gets wrapped up. And that will end up going as a loss to set up 4th down and a long 10. And in all likelihood, we will see a quick 3 and out here for the Scarlet Hawks as the offense now heads to the sideline. Looks like timeout now called by the Bulldogs with just 10 seconds to go in this first quarter. And so everything that Milford hoped to clean up for this week 3 matchup has continued to haunt them here through this first quarter. We've seen the fumbling issues rear their head again, both in special teams and on offense, losing a fumble, fumbling the opening kickoff. The offense has continued to struggle to pick up first downs, and the defense right now having all kinds of trouble with this Canton offense. So not a recipe for success as Canton enjoys a 7-0 lead, and Sean Lehane waits to punt this ball away back to the Bulldogs. And the kick will take a good Milford bounce as it rolls past the 25-yard line, and Milford will let it roll to a stop. It makes its way all the way to the 23. Well, they'll mark him down at the 24. And so that is where Canton will come back out. So Lehane, that kick took a bounce right around the 42-yard line and then got a great Milford roll to save field position.
That is the end of the first quarter.
And that ends up being the final play of the first quarter. So a quarter that was dominated by the Canton Bulldogs. They lead it 7-0. We'll take a very quick timeout. The Bulldogs will have the football when we return next here on Milford TV.
First down and 10, Canton from their own 23.
Back for the start of the second quarter as we see the sweep to the near side. And this time, Gersom Rivera has nowhere to go. Milford sniffed out the play this time. That play gave Canton consistent success on their touchdown drive in the first quarter, so going right back to it again with Rivera, but no such luck as Rivera is brought down all the way back to the 20.
Loss of 4 on the play.
Second down and 14 coming up.
Canton at their own 20.
This defense has gotten a workout so far here in the first half.
Timeout, Canton.
Time of possession going heavily in Canton's favor as another timeout is called on the field. So the Scarlet Hawks fans wondering when their team's offense is finally going to break out. We know they have the players to be able to get it going. It's just a question of when it will happen, and you have to imagine when they can finally get into the end zone, it's going to take a lot of pressure off this team, and they can start to settle in a little bit better, but they cannot afford too many more losses if they want to maintain a reasonable chance of getting into the playoffs with that 0-2 start already on the season, and now with these all-important division games underway, and a lot of them, as we have continued to talk about over the last 2 weeks, will take place away from Milford High School. And so now on second down, Hagan looks to throw far down the far sideline, and the pass is incomplete. And Chappelle Feaster able to stay step for step with Jace Emma, the wide out for the Bulldogs.
Pass by Jonah Hagan falls incomplete near the sideline.
Looking for that home run play, but Feaster using his speed in the secondary to break up that pass, and now it's a third down and 14 for Canton.
At their own 20.
Hagan taking his time getting the play call from the sideline. The Canton head coach is Dave Bohane. Hagan ready now, puts that man in motion. And it is a handoff up the middle, and Milford was ready for it, so a good hold on defense for the Scarlet Hawks, and you can see now trying to bring some energy to the sideline. As Canton now will punt.
Brings up 4th down and 13 for Canton at their own 21.
On the 4th down and 13. Chappelle Feaster backpedals his way just inside Milford territory, along with Hugo Lopes, both back deep to receive this kick. And a bad punt, a line drive kick. It does take a roll. Milford will let it go just inside Scarlet Hawks territory, but this will be the best starting field position of the night for Milford, as they will start at their own 48. So the defense forces the 3 and out, and the offense now with starting position right near midfield. So an opportunity for Milford to get right back into this game. It is still just a 1-possession game at 7-0 with 9 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the first half. Perez out there. He has Rosa to his right. Lopes in motion, and the pass ends up going to Chappelle Feaster, who's able to avoid initial contact, but all he's able to do is pick up a yard before the Canton defense closes in for the tackle.
No gain on the completion.
And they will say officially no gain. Keeps it at 2nd down and 10. A lot of movement on that far side of the field before that pass was dished out to Feaster in the flat. This time Perez puts Feaster in motion, fakes the handoff to the senior, and Perez ends up racing up the middle. He's able to get inside Canton territory, taking it down to the 46.
5-yard gain on the play. Brings up 3rd down and 5 for Milford.
So 3rd down and 5 coming up for the Scarlet Hawks. They did not gain a first down on their last offensive possession. Perez has not had much time in the pocket through these last 2 weeks. And it looks like now some confusion on offense, so the Scarlet Hawks will call timeout to talk things over. We will take the timeout as well. There are 8 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the first half. It remains Canton 7 and Milford nothing here on your home for Scarlet Hawks Athletics, Milford TV. Big play here for the Scarlet Hawks offense, 3rd down and 4. Just over 8 minutes to go until halftime. Perez takes the snap. He's able to stand in, looking for Lopes on the near side, and the ball is bobbled and then dropped.
Pass attempt by Perez falls incomplete.
It was good coverage in the secondary, but Perez delivered that ball right on target to Lopes. He had it in the hands, but could not secure the catch. And that has been another familiar refrain for these receiving targets for Perez so far on the season. And again, Milford will be forced to punt.
At the Canton 46.
A couple of Bulldogs lined up just inside their own 10. As Lehane sends the kick just shy of the 10-yard line. Canton lets it bounce. Milford trying to stop it shy of the goal line. And they are able to down it just prior to the goal line, so they pin Canton deep. Looks like all the way to their own 1.
Sean Lane's punt is down at the 1-yard line.
And so there is Sean Lehane again, not only a terrific field goal kicker, but in the kicking game in general, giving Milford such a boost. A terrific punt, and the special teams able to down it at the 1. So Canton has 99 yards of space in front of them. And the defense, who made some nice adjustments on that last drive. Trying to give this team a boost again. So Hagan from inside his own end zone hands it off up the middle, and Milford levels a punishing hit.
Kyle Fitzgerald, the ball carrier.
It was Kyle Fitzgerald who took the handoff and then took the punishment from the Milford defense. No gain on the play, so it will be 2nd down and 10 with the ball still on the Canton 1-yard line.
10 for Canton at their own 1.
And this defense, despite all of the work so far in this half, they are energized out there. They want to make this play. Trying to turn the tide. Hagan puts a man in motion. And again, a careful play up the middle, and Milford not allowing any space.
Number 33, James Murphy on the carry.
So that time Canton able to get at least a couple of yards to bring the ball out to the 3.
At their own 3.
Will we see Hagan chance a throw? Under 6.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Milford crowd pumped up as Hagan will look to throw it, and the pass incomplete, and now a flag comes in the end zone.
Hagan falls incomplete near the sideline. There is a flag on the field.
And right now Canton not looking particularly happy. What will the play call be here? This could be a huge momentum swing. The pass was intended for Jace Emma. And they're going to say that this is a roughing the passer call against the Scarlet Hawks. And it was hard to see at game speed the contact that took place in the end zone. With our attention focused on Emma, the ball did not end up anywhere close to Emma, as he ended up running into his defender. Some miscommunication on the throw, but Canton getting bailed out in a big way by the roughing the passer call, and an absolute killer for the Scarlet Hawks. As this brings play all the way out. Starting field position now to the Canton 18-yard line. And so the Milford defense now having to shake that off. Big time frustration as Fitzgerald now tries to spin off of contact. He gets brought down close to the line of scrimmage. Of course, we will be granted the ability of replay after the fact. And it will be interesting to get another look at the contact that took place in the end zone there to see if the call was legit. Second down and 9, so they gave Fitzgerald a yard on that rushing play. Overall, the Milford defense has done well to adjust after the Canton touchdown drive. With 5.5 minutes to go, Hagan looking to throw, gets chased out of the pocket, and will get forced out of bounds after a gain of an additional yard or 2. The clock stopped now at 5:27.
2-yard gain on the play.
Gain of 2 for Hagan as he raced towards the sideline.
From the 21.
Sets up 3rd down and 7 with the new line of scrimmage, the Bulldogs 21. It was a throwing play in this situation the last time around with the ball spotted inside the 5. We'll see what the coaching staff draws up here. Both sides will have a chance to talk it over as Canton calls the timeout with 5 minutes and 27 seconds remaining in the first half. It is still a tight one with Canton on top of Milford by a score of 7-0 right here on Milford TV. Another key 3rd down play coming up for the Scarlet Hawks defense. They look to be ready to bring the pressure as Hagan will toss it back to Rivera, and Josh Lagore the first in there to make contact. And Rivera brought down well shy of the first down. And no flags on the field this time, so it took a little longer than Milford had hoped, but they get the stop. David Allen punting the ball, a better looking punt this time for the Bulldogs, and Milford has to let it roll. It makes contact with Canton at the 48. I'll say the 47. That is where Milford will come out. So again, starting field position right around midfield. Milford couldn't do anything with it the last time around. Colby Perez in the offense right now, huddled around their head coach, Anthony Vazakis. Brett Crosby also out there trying to get the team energized as the offense heads back out. They have just over 4.5 minutes to work with. Canton will have the football first in the second half. The man in motion gets the football. It's Feaster. And Feaster able to get around a couple of defenders. Still on his feet now as he gets loose. Now all the way down to the 30-yard line before he finally spills out of bounds.
And that play is good for Scarlet Hawks.
So the biggest play of the game so far for Milford results in a first down just inside the Canton 30. And back to action now as this time it is Luke Rosa who burrows his way forward inside the 25.
Five-yard gain on the play. Second down, 5 from the 24.
Second down and 4 now with just over 3 minutes to go. Perez again hands it off up the middle. It's Rosa.
Lucas Rosa, the ball carrier.
Is able to get close to that first down line. Looks to be perhaps just shy. It'll be third down and very short.
Third down and 1 from the 20.
Two minutes and 40 seconds to go in the half. Now another low snap. Pires just takes it forward himself.
Pires with the keeper.
And he gets denied the first down, so it will be 4th and a yard for the Scarlet Hawks here as the clock will wind down under 2 minutes to go before this next play. Milford taking their time, and now timeout is called for.
Timeout, Milford.
And so we have said it many times over the course of this half, but a key play, perhaps in Milford's season coming up here, trying to get the offense on track. And a 4th down and 1 coming up with exactly 2 minutes left to go in this first half. We'll have the key play for you on the other side of this break here on Milford TV. And so back here for this 4th down and 1, Milford had retaken the field with Ryan Pearl in the war package. And so as the chess match continues between these two coaching staffs, Canton calling the timeout, wanting to get themselves situated here. So right back into a timeout now with 4th down and 1. The ball spotted on the Canton 20-yard line. The key play on this drive, that huge gain by Chappelle Feaster that set up shop inside Bulldogs territory. But both teams right now back inside the huddles. Canton finally ready to retake the field. Coach Vazakis now sends his team back out there. It'll again be Ryan Pearl. 4th down and 1, here we go. Pearl keeps it himself. Milford gets a good second effort that pushes them across the yard to gain. A little pushing and shoving afterwards, but the Scarlet Hawks able to get it done. They get the first down. And a 1st and 10 now.
1st and 10, Milford at the Canton 18.
The ball spotted on the 18, and Pires back out now as Milford spreads it out. And they fake the handoff. Pires
with the keeper.
Trying to slide through a gap up the middle, able to get a couple of yards as we tick down now under 90 seconds to go.
A 1-yard gain on the play. 2nd down and 9 from the Canton 17.
And now Pires looks to throw on 2nd down, looking towards the end zone. He has Feaster, who is in. Touchdown, Scarlet Hawks. A 17-yard touchdown catch for Chappelle Feaster. And right now, Milford an extra point away from tying this game up. Pires able to stand in there. And Feaster wide open, able to make the grab. Give Milford their first touchdown on their home field this season, and Lehane now trying to tie it up. Good clean snap, but the kick is blocked. And Canton will scoop it up in the end zone. So we talked about how key the plays were on special teams in this matchup last season. This time it is Milford who misses the extra point. So that allows Canton to maintain the lead. It is 7-6 Bulldogs with 1 minute and 9 seconds to go. But the key play by Feaster. And so meanwhile, we will keep it here. There was a late flag that came in. Both teams taking the sideline, so the score will remain the same. 17-yard hookup between Pires and Feaster.
In the winning
And so
number
Canton
is
now in position
blue
to
ticket,
possess the football here with just over a minute to go. They will also have possession
5924.
to start the third
Again,
quarter.
that's a blue ticket, 413-5924.
Milford unable to tie it up after the
If you have
extra
that
point
ticket, visit
attempt by
Upper
Sean
Fest
Lehane
Claim
was
at
blocked,
Yale
so
Lanes.
barring a turnover here in this final minute, Canton will be able to head into the locker room with the lead, but Milford finally starting to turn the momentum. Setting up for the kick, the ball spotted for the kick at the 45. And Lehane will just boom this kick through the uprights for a touchback. So Canton will start it
Touchback.
from their own 25, the second touchback from Lehane tonight. And so 1 minute and 9 seconds left for Johnny Hagan.
First and 10, Canton at their own 25.
The last two drives for the Bulldogs have resulted in punts. After that touchdown for Fitzgerald. So Hagan now motions for Murphy into the backfield, ends up tossing it back to Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald with wide open space on the far sideline. He finally gets knocked out of bounds
The ball carrier.
at the 45. So a quick 20-yard gain on the ground for the Bulldogs, so they are not done quite yet.
First and 10, Canton at their own
And
45.
Milford, who had really bottled up this Bulldogs offense over the last few drives, letting up a big play on first down. First and 10 now from the Canton 45. And it's Rivera in motion. He gets the pitch back and able to elude a couple of tackles before he steps out of bounds at midfield. They'll spot the football just shy of that 50-yard line, right in between the Canton 49 and the 50.
Second down and 6 for Canton.
But again, the Bulldogs able to get out of bounds, stopping the clock at 56 seconds. Hagan getting the play call from the Canton sidelines. Canton ready. Hagan drops back, has room in the pocket, now runs out of time, scrambling, and Josh Lagore able to stay with him, wraps up the legs, and brings him down at the 48.
Hagan on the keeper.
And that'll go as a loss, so Lagore will get credited for a sack.
Josh Lagore with the takedown for the Scarlet.
It was a deep drop by Hagan, and Milford was able to get penetration into the backfield, and Lagore, who had a sack last week against Franklin, able to get one here in a key spot, setting up third down now. Loss of one.
7 for Canton at their own 48-yard line.
It'll be third down and 7 with 45 ticks left in this second quarter. Milford looks to be bringing pressure again. And they toss it back to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald trying to squeeze through a crack in this defense, but he is brought down at the Canton 49, well shy of the first down.
Timeout, Milford.
And so Milford calls the quick timeout. The clock stopped with 36 seconds to go, so Milford will get the football back here with a little bit of time left to work with. Looks like Dylan Ortiz will drop back deep.
Fourth down for Canton at the 50.
Milford wanting to bring pressure on this kick. And just able to get the kick away. Milford was right there. And we're not able to get a hand on it as the ball will roll out of play at the Milford 26. So just 27 seconds left to go. We'll see if The offense will take some chances here with a couple of shots down the field with Colby Perez. Perez throwing for his first touchdown of the season the last time he held the football. Feaster and White line up to the far side. As Perez now looks to the near side, dumps it off to Danny Farrell, and Farrell will quickly scoot out of bounds.
Pass by number 7, Colby Perez, is complete.
It's shy of the first.
Danny Farrell with the reception.
They'll give him 9 yards.
9-yard gain of the play. Second down, 1 from the 35.
22 seconds to go. Again, Perez takes the snap, this time immediately flushed out, rolls to his right, gets the pass in the neighborhood of Brendan White, and they'll say incomplete. White caught it on a bounce. And so with 14 seconds to go, it will be 3rd down and a yard.
That brings up 3rd down and 1 for Milford from their own 35.
Does Milford have anything in the bag of tricks for this situation? 3rd down and 1, just 14 seconds left in the half. And it's a handoff straight up the middle. Some room for Lucas Rosa as he's able to spill across midfield to the 49. And then the timeout is called for. So Milford able to get it into Bulldogs territory, but they have one at most 2 plays left in them before the half.
Timeout, Milford.
And they will head to the sidelines to talk it over. So we'll take one more timeout here. Milford able to cut the deficit to just a single point. After the touchdown catch for Chappelle Feaster, the missed extra point kept the lead in Canton's favor. Looked like Canton was going to be able to finish out this first half, but Milford able to get the stop on defense to give the offense one more chance in the closing seconds. So we'll keep it right here as Canton now makes their way back out onto the field. Milford with a few more words with Coach Vizakis, and now Colby Perez, junior quarterback, with a little pat on the helmet for Feaster. Perhaps these two have something up their sleeves in this 1st and 10 from the Canton 49. And Perez able to complete it towards the far side to the Canton 45. It's completed to White. And Milford able to call the timeout with 1 second left, so we will see one more play.
A 5-yard gain, 2nd and 5. Ball is spotted at the Canton 44-yard line.
And Perez will come to the sideline, and we'll see Ryan Pearl come out. And so with a second left here, Milford is going to try for the field goal attempt. And so Sean Lehane lines up for it. A clean snap. A flag comes in as the kick is away. Does it have the distance? And the kick is no good, but a flag came in on the snap.
And that is the end of the first half.
And so offsides will be the call. So that is that for this first half. And so I beg your pardon, offsides against Canton. So Milford will have a chance to re-kick here. The kick was very close. It looked from the naked eye up here in the press box that did just sneak over the uprights, but perhaps just shy. And so Lehane will have a chance to do it again.
It's now First down for Milford from the 39-yard line.
No time on the clock. It is a first down for Milford, but they will reset for the kick. A 56-yard attempt this time for Lane. Another good snap. The kick away. And that kick is no good once again. So a couple of long attempts here right at the half for Lehane, and could not get it through the upright. So it will stay a 7-6 Canton lead at halftime. But Milford doing some good work here late in the half to start to turn the momentum. We'll see if they can build on that heading into the third quarter. But in the meantime, we will step away for halftime. Make sure you stay tuned in if you're on our live stream coverage for the halftime show for the marching band. There'll also be some teacher appreciation ceremonies taking place on the field as well. So halftime here in Milford. We'll be back in a few short minutes for the start of the third quarter between Milford and Canton right here on Milford TV. Welcome back to Milford High School. Tim Coet here with you for the second half between the Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Canton Bulldogs. It is a 7-6 Canton lead as the Bulldogs prepare to receive the second half kick. An entertaining game.
Sean Lehane said to
close contest between these two teams. Canton, their lone touchdown came in the closing seconds of the first quarter with a 27-yard touchdown reception for Kyle Fitzgerald, and for Milford, able to score late in the second quarter as Colby Perez hooked up with Chappelle Feaster on a 7-yard touchdown reception, but a missed extra point, a blocked kick off the foot of Sean Lehane is the difference on the scoreboard right now as Canton leads it by 1. And Lehane out there now with a line drive kick all the way to the goal line. A clean catch made by the return man for the Bulldogs. It is Gersom Rivera who is able to glance off of initial contact, and he's going to bowl his way out to the 30-yard line before he's finally brought to a stop. So a good second effort by Gersom Rivera. He has been fairly quiet since early in the first quarter. That touchdown drive for the Bulldogs was their only consistent success on the night. They were able to get Rivera on a couple of sweep plays for some big yardage, but Milford was able to make the adjustments as the half went along. The defense has really been instrumental in turning the tides in this game. And on first down, Milford able to close in quickly on Rivera, who gets the kick return and then gets the handoff on first down. Able to gain a single yard. Second down and 9 plays right now. The ball is spotted in between the 31 and 32 yard lines. Hagan with James Murphy now to his left. Dropping back to throw, has a target wide open on the far sideline. It is number 21, Ryan Lentil, one of the captains. Able to make the catch, but a good play by the Milford secondary was able to bring Lentil down shy of the first down, so it will be third down and 2. Just over 9.5 minutes to go in this third quarter. We talked about it in the pregame. This third quarter was another one of the keys to the game for Milford, not allowing the game to get away from them in the third quarter as they have done in the previous 2 weeks. Trying to get a stop on third down. And the handoff, or no handoff, a keeper for Hagan up the middle. He's able to get to the 41-yard line, which is enough for the Bulldogs' first down. So the quarterback able to do just enough to move the chains. Canton methodical again, trying to use the clock to their advantage. And now they retake the line with 8 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the quarter. Hagen puts a man in motion, but drops back to throw, gets some protection, throwing to the near sideline where it is completed once again to Kyle Fitzgerald, who is dragged out of bounds at the Milford 40. So a 19-yard hookup between Hagen and Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald has been Hagen's go-to option in the passing game. When he's had success airing out the football, it's been to number 2. And a timeout is called for now by the Bulldogs. It looked like they had some confusion with their personnel. And so the timeout is called for with 8 minutes and 33 seconds to go. Our second Milford High School football action of the season here on Milford TV. We're very much looking forward to getting in touch with the boys and girls soccer teams here on Milford TV next week. I should say in the weeks to come, we look to have some girls soccer coverage for you next week, also girls volleyball as well as we get deeper into this fall sports season. But all eyes on the football field now, and on first down, it is Gersom Rivera. He's able to get across the 35-yard line down to the 31. About a yard shy of that first down. Canton finding success on offense again.
Second down and 2 for Canton from the Milford 32.
They were able to get the one big play on that last drive of the first half to get inside Milford territory, but ultimately the drive stalled. But getting inside Scarlet Hawks territory again here in their first possession of the second half, and now down to the 31. And now looks like we'll have a Milford timeout. And Coach Olson not at all happy with what he saw lined up by his defense. So he is out there right now in the middle of the huddle, about as animated as we've seen him since he's joined this coaching staff. So the defense talking it over on the Milford side. The offense taking some time to get hydrated. We'll take the timeout with 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Back in a moment here on Milford TV. 2nd and 1 for the Bulldogs out of the timeout. Hagen looking for a deep ball, has a man wide open. And the catch made, and in for the touchdown. A 31-yard strike from Hagen to Jamari Hodge.
Touchdown, Canton.
I beg your pardon, it was Ryan Lentil, so it was 21, not 31. And so Lentil with his second catch of the game to give the Bulldogs a 13-6 lead. And Owen Lehane now looking to increase that lead for the visitors. And the kick is away and clean and good. 31-yard touchdown catch for Lentil. And that makes it a 14-6 lead for Canton over Milford here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks football on Milford TV. Owen Lehane now to kick the ball back to the Scarlet Hawks. It's a short kick out to the 12-yard line.
Fair catch by Milford.
And so it was a fair catch by the Scarlet Hawks. They will now send the offense back out there with that gap getting a little bit bigger. An 8-point deficit, still a one-possession game.
Milford from their own 25-yard line.
But Milford can ill afford to come up empty on too many possessions in the second half. As the adjustments go back and forth, it was Canton able to get the offense jump-started once again against the Milford D. And now fires with the handoff on first down and a hard hit. And no gain on the play.
Hugo Lopes on the carry.
Second down and 10 with the clock coming down to 7 minutes to go. Perez
No gain on the play. Second down, 10 from the 25.
making his way back out to the huddle and now back for a second time to double check the play call with his head coach. Fires now a quick throw into the flat, completed. And Brendan White able to make his way to the 29. So that'll set up a third down and 6.
That brings up third down and 6. Ball is spotted at the 29-yard line.
The Scarlet Hawks methodically back to the line. Trying to convert a third down. It has not been easy for them in this game. Perez stands in the pocket, has Hugo Lopes open. And Lopes able to get the first down just enough.
And that play is good for Scarlet Hawks.
And it looks like Milford will try to do a little hurry up here, which
First and 10, Milford at their own 36.
certainly a good option to go to. Try to get this Canton defense tired out. They hand it off to Luke Rosa on first down. Rosa able to keep his feet, trying to get free. He's able to get a yard. And again, Milford will go no huddle.
1 yard in the play. Second down, 9 from the
As the
37.
third quarter clock now dips under 5.5 minutes to go. And a high throw pulled down by Chappelle Feaster, trying to pick up a head of steam. He's able to get close to midfield. And they'll mark him down back at the 46. Excuse me, the 42-yard line, my apologies.
Four-yard gain on the play. Third down and 5.
It'll be third down for the Scarlet Hawks. A little more time taken this time for Milford. Perez stands in the pocket, looks deep down the field for Lopes. He's able to get one hand on it, but can't pull it in.
Pass by Perez falls incomplete.
So Lopes,
Pass was intended for
that
Hugo
pass
Lopes.
just out of his reach, maybe about a half a
Fourth
step
down and 5 for Milford.
too far beyond his reach. It was a good throw overall from Perez, but Lopes could not reel it in, and it will be fourth down and 5 now for Milford, and another Sean Lehane punt now. And another big bounce, and Gersom Rivera plays it inside the 10, and now in some trouble as Milford converges, and they drag him down inside the 5. And Rivera is shaken up after the play. He cannot get back to his feet.
Gerson Rivera on the return for Canton.
And so we will step aside for an injury timeout as Rivera looks to be in some pain. Milford levels the hard hit inside the 5-yard line with 4 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the third quarter on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks football here on Milford TV.
First down and 10 for Canton at their own 3-yard line.
Rivera able to make his way off the field. First and 10 now for the Bulldogs. They're pinned deep, trying to give themselves a little extra breathing room on the quarterback keeper. No gain I beg your pardon. Gain of about 3 yards on the play. So Canton able to push the pile to get out to the 7.
4-yard gain on the play. 2nd down and 6 for Canton at their own 7.
The official gained 4 yards on that last play. On 2nd down now, Hagan again trying to run it himself. Tried to jump to the outside. Gets wrapped up, flag comes in. And it'll go against the Bulldogs. And they'll check in now with the Milford coaching staff. Now we get the official call, so
illegal shift on Canton is the call.
The call an illegal shift, so that
the result of the play is a 3rd down.
Milford ultimately decides to enforce the penalty. It was curious if they would end up declining it to put the Bulldogs in a 3rd down situation, but they take the penalty yardage to set up 2nd down and 9.
That brings up 3rd down and 9 from the 4.
So Hagan, again, right under the shadow of his own goalpost. He'll run it himself, hurdles over one defender, and now gets pushed out of bounds, but Hagan just continues to be so difficult. Milford having all kinds of trouble bringing the quarterback down all night long. And he's able to give his team the 1st down, so a terrific rushing play.
This rush is good for a Canton 1st down.
Out of Johnny Hagan.
A 9-yard gain on the play.
He's able to get just enough to give the Bulldogs 13. The 1st down. So now 1st and 10 from their own 13. A little bit more wiggle room now for Hagan as he puts Fitzgerald in motion. He tosses it back to the receiver. They can't turn the corner on the Milford defense this time. Now Milford saying the ball comes loose and that they have it.
The ball carrier. There's a fumble on the play.
And there is the official call. Milford has the football, so the Scarlet Hawks force the fumble. Fitzgerald loses control and Milford takes over. And a huge turning point now perhaps for the Scarlet Hawks as they will take over deep inside Bulldogs territory. Looks like they'll have it right at the Canton 15.
1st and 10 Milford from the Canton 15.
Colby Perez out there, hands it off to Feaster. Feaster hesitates in the backfield and runs out of time, and he is going to get brought down for a tremendous loss. That's going to be close to a 15-yard loss for Feaster. Tried to channel some Le'Veon Bell there, hesitating in the backfield, waiting for the lane to open up. It never did. And so it looks like they ultimately marked him down at the 27.
From the 28.
It's again about a 13-yard loss on the play. Perez now looking for Feaster again, has him wide open, and he will walk into the end zone for a touchdown, Scarlet Hawks. So Feaster makes it a little more interesting, and in the end he hauls in his 2nd touchdown grab of the night, this one from 27 yards out. And that makes it a 14-12 score, and a very interesting play call coming up here for Coach Vizakis. And so we'll see if Milford does indeed go for the two-point conversion here. It looks like they will. So a chance to tie this game up. Fascinating that this matchup for a second straight year comes down to these extra point, two-point conversion situations. Perez runs out of time and ends up getting brought down. The attempt no good as Brendan Albert wrapped him up. Perez looking to throw, not seeing an open target. He wanted to run it himself into the end zone. It looked like he had the space to do it, but a nice play by Albert to wrap up the legs of the junior quarterback shy of the end zone. So it will stay a Canton lead, but Milford cutting it close. It is a 14-12 score now with Canton hanging on to the lead. They will get the football back, as we'll keep it right here as Milford comes back out. Will we see any kind of trickery on this kick for the Scarlet Hawks? With 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the third quarter, they'll likely kick it away here. This is a football game now. And it looks like good news for Canton, as it appears that Gersom Rivera is one of the two players deep to receive the kick, so he was shaken up on that earlier possession for the Bulldogs, but good to go now, and he will take this kick back up the middle. Now twists over towards the far side, and he is going to get dragged down from behind, but not before he crosses the 35-yard line, down to about the 37. So decent starting field position for the Bulldogs with 2:17 to go in the third quarter.
First and 10, Canton at their own 37.
Best game of the season so far for the Scarlet Hawks, but can they finish it off with a comeback win? They have to make a stop here, and Kyle Fitzgerald getting the ball in his hands on first down after he lost the fumble on Canton's previous possession, which set up the touchdown for Milford.
On the play. Second down and 2 for Canton at their own 45.
Minute 53 to go, as it will be second down and short. Fitzgerald getting the ball out to the Canton 45, setting up second down and 2. On second down and 2, the quick release to Fitzgerald. He has the room for the first down, stiff arms one defender, and then Luke Rosa guides him out of bounds, but not before he gets inside Milford territory to the Milford 45.
By Lucas Rosa.
An 8-yard gain on the ground.
Play is good for a Canton first down. First and 10 for the Bulldogs at the Scarlet Hawk 45.
After the 18-yard gain, it is first and 10 for the Bulldogs, who trying to hang on to the lead here. This has been a good start to the season for the Bulldogs, although they had to come from behind in week 1 against Dighton Rehoboth. Ended up outscoring Dighton Rehoboth big time in the second half of that week 1 matchup to earn the victory.
Kyle Fitzgerald on the carry.
DR ended up taking a 14-0 lead
a 4-yard gain on the play
into halftime.
Second down and 6 for Canton.
Canton ended up coming back for the 25-20 win. Last week was a laugher in the 42-6 win against Bellingham. Now with 48 seconds left, it'll be second down and 6 here right at the end of quarter number 3. Quick release finds Rivera, and Rivera gets upended by Chappelle Feaster.
Pass by Johnny Hagan is complete to Jerson Rivera.
And Rivera a little bit slow to get up again. You know, he is hurting a little bit after the contact from earlier in this quarter. And Canton will ultimately allow the final seconds of this third quarter to tick down. So Canton will take a 14-12 lead into the final 11 minutes of this football game. It is still up for grabs, but the Milford defense needing to come up with a stop here with the ball inside their own territory.
Canton 14, Milford
It'll be 3rd down and 2 for the Bulldogs when we start the fourth quarter right after this here on Milford TV. Fourth quarter here at Milford High School. Canton leads Milford 14-12. And it's a 3rd down and 2 coming up for the Bulldogs from the Milford 37. And the run straight up the gut on 3rd and short for
the ball carrier.
Kyle Fitzgerald and the Bulldogs, and they get enough for the first down, bringing it down to the 34.
First down. 3-yard gain on the play. 1st and 10, Canton.
It's a gain of 3 for Fitzgerald to keep this drive going. Johnny Hagan now, the junior quarterback for the Bulldogs. He's had a good night. Now we'll look to throw, feels the pressure, races out of the pocket, and will just throw that one away, and wisely so. It was Dom Schofield who was in hot pursuit.
That brings up 2nd down and 10 for Canton from the Milford 34-yard line.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Bulldogs now. The clock stopped at 10:21 to play. Milford will have a road matchup with North Attleboro High School next week. Will they go into that game 1-2 or 0-3? On 2nd down and 10, the handoff goes to Rivera. Rivera able to slip up the middle.
Jerson Rivera, the ball carrier.
Down to about the 33-yard line, and now another Canton player shaken up after the fact. Another one of their captains, Brian Campagna. And he will head off to the sideline now.
1-yard gain on the play. That brings up 3rd down and 9.
They give Canton a yard on that last play, setting up 3rd down and 9 from the Milford 33-yard line. Ryan Lentil, who caught a touchdown late in the first half, is wide to the far side. They send it over the middle, and the ball is intercepted. Milford comes down with their 2nd interception of the game, and once again it is Brendan White who gets it done. His 2nd pick of this game.
His 2nd pick of the game.
He picks off Johnny Hagan, and Milford able to get the stop they needed. And you cannot say enough about the effort of the Scarlet Hawks defense tonight. Holding Canton to just 14 points to this point in the game. 2 turnovers generated by this defense. It's been a physical game, and this defense has been up to the challenge. The offense has started to get something going as well. And a chance to retake the field now, trailing by just 2.
1st and 10 Milford at their own 15.
They start this drive from their own 15-yard line. Perez runs it himself on first down, gets a couple of yards before getting driven back. And so they will say that Canton stopped the QB's progress right at the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 2nd down and 10 with the clock rolling towards 9 minutes to play. We saw a little no huddle out of Milford late in the first half.
2nd down and 10 at the 15.
Taking their time here on 2nd down and 10. White and Feaster, the receivers to the near side. And you could tell Perez wanted to go to Feaster over the middle, but he runs out of time and gets brought down for the sack.
Lucas Bryant with the sack for the Bulldogs.
Feaster in the slot, trying to get open for Perez, but Canton bringing the pressure, getting the sack, and now Milford in a 3rd down and 16. So it's now the Bulldogs defense trying to limit the damage after the turnover.
3rd down and 13.
Perez puts the man in motion. He's looking to throw. He's looking deep down the field. And the catch. Is it made? Milford says yes. Canton says no.
Pass by Colby Perez is incomplete.
And they will now say incomplete. It was juggled. And so it was Sean Lehane on the deep ball. It was tough to tell as he went to the ground whether he secured it or not, but ultimately the catch, the pass ruled incomplete, and now Lehane has to shake it off as he will have to punt this ball away from inside his own end zone. And not a good kick this time for Lehane, so maybe feeling some of the after effects of that tackle. And you can see now he's really favoring, it looks to be his left hip as he goes to the sideline. You can see not the kind of kick that we've come accustomed to seeing by Sean Lehane, and as a result, the Bulldogs will have very good field position from the Milford 44-yard line. Hagan back out there after his defense bails him out after the interception. Hands it off to Gerson Rivera on first down.
One-yard gain on the play.
He's able to move ahead for a single yard.
Canton from the Milford 43.
As we move down to 7.5 minutes left in this fourth quarter. Again, the Bulldogs use the clock to their advantage. Coach Olson communicating with the Milford defense from the sideline. And ready to go now on 2nd down and 9 as Hagan runs it up the middle. And he's able to push his way just
on the keeper
to the 40-yard line.
Met by a wall of Milford defenders.
Nose of the football down right on the 40 to set up 3rd down and 6.
Three-yard gain on the play. Brings up 3rd down and 6 for Canton at the Milford 40.
The Milford defense ready. Hagan getting the play from his coaching staff. How many key third downs have we seen tonight on both sides of the football? It's the Milford defense that has come up in so many clutch moments, looking to do it again as Hagan will look to throw, and the pass is incomplete.
Pass falls incomplete near the sideline.
Good coverage in the Milford secondary. Looks like Ryan Pearl who was there.
Ryan Pearl in on pass coverage.
And so that sets up 4th down and 6.
That brings up 4th down and 6 for Canton from the Milford 40-yard line.
And so what will we see here? Canton setting up in punt formation. And they get the kick away, and fair catch is called for.
Chappelle Feaster with the fair catch for Milford.
Dylan Ortiz with the fair catch, and so a long field ahead of Milford as the defense is able to do their job, keeping it once again just that 2-point differential.
First and 10 Milford at their own 10.
90 yards of field ahead of the Scarlet Hawks offense with 5:55 to play in the game. Again, it's Perez. He's gotten the bulk of the work tonight. He will look to throw on 1st down, forced to roll out. He's able to hit Brendan White, trying to tiptoe down the sidelines, and they will rule him out.
Kobe Perez is complete to Brendan White
At the 14. So a gain of 4 on the dump-off pass to White. Getting out of bounds to stop the clock at 5:48 to go. Again, Perez will throw, again targeting White, but the throw tailed on Perez, and White did a good job almost turning defensive back there to swat that ball away, making sure the pass wasn't intercepted.
14-yard line.
So 3rd down and 6. You have to think we're likely in 4-down territory at this point for the Scarlet Hawks with less than 6 minutes to play. Again from the Milford 14-yard line on 3rd and 6. Perez completes it again to Brendan White, who's targeted on all 3 throws so far. And Coach Vazakis right now calling for the 1st down. And now the officials signal to move the chains, so Brendan White able to get just enough to keep this drive going for the Scarlet Hawks.
6-yard gain on the play. 1st and 10 Milford at their own 20.
The clock rolling now, close to 5 minutes to go as Milford will have a 1st down and 10 from their own 20. They put Feaster in motion. He will take the handoff. Hesitates to get around one defender, and then Kyle Fitzgerald ends up meeting him at about the 29.
7-yard gain on the play.
I'll give him a gain of 7.
From the 27-yard line.
With the ball marked down at the Milford 27. 4:45 to play. A low snap and a quick handoff up the middle to Luke Rosa, but nothing there.
Rosa on the carry.
And meanwhile, Dom Schofield a little slow on his feet after the play.
No gain on the play. 3rd down and 3.
He'll stay on the field as Perez relays the play call as we come down to 4 minutes to go. And another big 3rd down for this Milford offense, 3rd down and 3. Perez stands in the pocket, looking for the deep ball down the far sideline. It's complete. Deep inside Canton territory. And Chappelle Feaster has been a monster in the passing game for Milford tonight. He's caught 2 touchdown passes, and now the longest play from scrimmage on the night for Milford. Brings them inside Bulldogs territory down to the 36.
36-yard gain on the reception.
A 36-yard hookup to the 36-yard line.
First down and 10 for Milford.
And so that's 2 huge 3rd down conversions so far on this drive for Milford. The one to White, and now the huge play to Feaster, who have stepped up on the offense tonight for the Scarlet Hawks. And now on 1st down, it's Luke Rosa who gets the carry. A flag comes in. Now more flags in on the back end of the play as Rosa refuses to go down. Ends up inside the 10-yard line, but
flags on the field.
What will the final call be? A lot of laundry on the field right now. Officials gather together as the flag came in the backfield, then 2 more flags came in as the play continued. And so both penalties going against the Scarlet Hawks. Looks like an illegal shift and a hold. So an illegal block is declined. The illegal shift will be the one that is accepted. And it pushes Milford back to the Canton 41-yard line.
Milford, 1 for an illegal shift, 1 for a block in the back.
So on 1st down and 15, Feaster in motion, and instead they hand it off again to Rosa up the middle.
Lucas Rosa, the ball carrier.
And he's brought down, looks to be at the 38.
The 3-yard gain on the play. 2nd down, 12 from the 38.
2nd down and 12 coming up as we wind all the way down to 2.5 minutes to play. Milford's taken a lot of time off the clock here, but needing to put the ball in the end zone, or at least set themselves up for a potential game-winning Sean Lehane field goal. He's had a couple of tries tonight from long range. Perez now has to step up through the rush. He's still on his feet and now takes a hard hit.
Kobe Perez on the keeper.
Brought down at the 32. To be about an 8-yard gain for Perez. Some tough yardage there as he took a hard impact at the end of the play. But looks to be fine.
3rd down and 7.
Under 2 minutes to go now as Perez calls the play in the huddle. Setting up for what could be a dramatic finish here for the Scarlet Hawks. Now the snap with just 90 seconds left to go. It's bobbled by Feaster, but he looks to be able to fall onto the football forward to the 30. Near disaster there for Milford.
The fumble is recovered by Milford.
It was a clean handoff for Perez. Feaster just fumbled it.
Now we have 4th down and 6 for Milford.
So a 4th down and 6 here for Milford.
The timeout, Canton.
And Canton calls the timeout. 4th down and 5 from the 31-yard line. Will it be a field goal try for Lehane? will we see the offense try to get the first down? We'll see what Milford draws up on the other side of the timeout. 1:04 to go, 14-12. Canton clinging to the lead right now over Milford here on Milford TV.
Sean Lane in to attempt a 48-yard
So here is your answer. Sean Lehane lines up for what would be a 48-yard field goal try. The kick away, and it will be no good. Canton looked to get a hand on that one as Lehane released the kick. And so the field goal try no good. Lehane had a chance to set a new state field goal record in the first half. Ended up having 2 shots at it late in the first half as the penalty came in on the Canton side, allowing Milford to re-kick with no time remaining on the clock. But both attempts were no good, and then here from 48 yards out, no good on the kick. So Canton will take over with just 60 seconds left. And an outstanding effort for Milford here in this fourth quarter. The defense with some huge stops. The offense making things interesting, but the fumble by Feaster setting up 4th down. Going to their weapon in Sean Lehane, but he could not make the kick as Canton was able to get the partial block. Bulldogs wanting to be careful here. Ball security at a premium as Fitzgerald is met immediately. And the clock stopped at 55 seconds to go. And Brendan White now. He was slow to get up after the play, was helped to his feet, and now struggling to stay on his feet. The coaching staff coming out to check on him, but he emphatically waves the coaches off, says he's fine. Trying to shake it off. You're not going to find a tougher player on the football field than Brendan White. White continues to look ginger out there, but he will give it a go on this next play. 2nd down and 11. Rivera in motion. He takes the quick toss and able to get some room on the far sideline before he steps out of bounds. So a 3rd down and 7 coming up for Canton. And it goes without saying, it's an absolute
from their own 34
must hold here for the Milford defense. Brendan White, with hands on knees, remains out there on the field, giving it everything he has left. Really favoring that right leg. So now on 3rd down and 7, they give it again to Gersom Rivera, and he is going to be swarmed by Milford, shy of the 1st down.
Gersom Rivera, the ball carrier.
And that stops the clock with 43 seconds left.
Timeout, Milford.
As Milford calls for the timeout. And so it will be 4th down with 43 seconds to go. And an interesting situation here for the Bulldogs.
As you leave the stadium, let's keep Milford High looking
4th down and 3.
Thank you.
Would they try to go for it here, take the chance to seal the win? Looks like they will play it conservative and punt it away back to the Scarlet Hawks. In punt formation right now, Chappelle Feaster will be back to field the punt. Kick away clean, and a very good kick for Owen Lehane. It takes a bounce at the 20. Feaster eventually picks it up at around the 15. He's able to run it back to about the 18 or 19 before he's leveled. And so with just 31 seconds to go, Milford trying to give everything they have left. A long field. Owen Lehane
First and 10,
coming up with a great punt when his team really needed it. Can they possibly get into field goal territory for Sean Lehane one more time? 31 seconds left to go. Here we go as Colby Perez leads the offense. Looking to throw on first down, deep over the middle to find Feaster, who had it in the hands and could not hold it.
Pass by Perez falls incomplete.
So it'll be second down and 10.
Feaster was the intended target. Second down and 10 for Milford.
It's Fitzgerald in the secondary who was able to break that up. That's a catch Chappelle Feaster knows he could have made. He's made a lot of them so far tonight. 26 seconds to go, second down and 10. Brendan White still out there for Milford. He splits out wide to the near side. Perez rolls out, he's in trouble, trying to buy time. Now eventually finds Feaster. And Feaster able to make the catch.
Pass by Perez is complete.
And brought out of bounds
to Chappelle Feaster
with 18 seconds to go. Perez unable to find anything open downfield. Eventually dumping it off to Feaster.
9-yard gain, that brings up third down and 1.
But a gain of just 9.
Line.
So we'll see a third down and 1 from the 28 with 18 seconds left. Milford fans hoping for a miracle here in the last seconds, but they'll have to wait a little bit longer to see the results of this third down and 1 play as timeout is called for.
Timeout, Canton.
Canton trying to hold on to improve to 3-0 on the season. Milford looking for the last second comeback to give them their first win. As we mentioned, Milford's next game will be on the road coming up on September 28th at North Attleboro. Canton, meanwhile, will be at Foxborough next Friday night, and Canton has not played a home game yet this season. They were on the road week 1 at Dighton Rehoboth, on the road at Bellingham last week, here in Milford tonight, and in Foxborough next week before they finally have their first home game on October 5th against Stoughton. So quite a gauntlet out of the chute with 4 straight road games, but a chance to go 3-0. Barring a Milford comeback here with 18 seconds left. Cannot count the Scarlet Hawks out quite yet. Ball spotted on the Milford 28 on third down and 1. Perez gets some protection, looking to the far sideline for Chappelle Feaster. It's complete. He's able to shake off a couple of tackles, now trying to get out of bounds with just 9 seconds left. Feaster brought down at the Canton 45. A big 27-yard reception for Chappelle Feaster.
27-yard reception by Feaster on the play.
And so Milford with a chance here. Do they take a shot at the end zone, or do they try to get a little more yardage and then jump out of bounds to give Lehane the chance? Some options here now with 9 seconds left. Of course, we saw Sean Lehane attempt a field goal from just about this distance in the first half. I do not expect that we'll see the field goal try here. Although we've talked to Coach Vizakis many times over the last couple of seasons, and he has said that he has confidence in Lehane kicking from just about anywhere on the field.
First and 10, Milford from the Canton 45.
So Milford now breaking the huddle with 9 seconds left and a first down and 10 from the Canton 45. But before we see a play, the Bulldogs now want to talk things over themselves. So the pace of this fourth quarter has really dragged on. We've seen multiple timeouts utilized by both of these coaching staffs. And more time for Coach Vizakis and his offense to contemplate the best move here. Again, a lot of options for the Scarlet Hawks, a chance to grab one last chunk of yardage with a pass play towards the sideline. You'd have to think that Canton is expecting the pass play here, so do you try to surprise the defense with a run play to try to get that yardage for Lehane? Hope that you can call the timeout with time remaining. And so no more timeouts. It is time to see this first and 10 play from Milford as Perez drops back. He sends it over the middle to Brendan White. It's complete down to the 30-yard line. And they will call timeout with 4 seconds left. And so we will see one last chance for Sean Lehane, already making his way out onto the field. And the Scarlet Hawks on the backs of Chappelle Feaster and Brendan White getting themselves into position for a potential game-winning field goal for Sean Lehane.
Sean Lehane into attempt a 48.
This will be a 48-yard field goal, which I believe is the identical distance to what he attempted on the last field goal try. And it would not be complete if we don't see one last timeout called, this time by the Bulldogs, as this game gets brought to an agonizing conclusion, but an exciting one for Milford fans, hoping to see their senior place kicker, Sean Lehane, deliver the first victory of the season for the Scarlet Hawks on this 48-yard field goal try. A 14-12 score. And set to go now. Ryan Pearl will take the snap, a clean hold, and the kick is blocked. The Canton Bulldogs block the kick from Sean Lehane for the second time as time expires, and the Bulldogs race out onto the field to celebrate an agonizing finish for the Scarlet Hawks. Lehane lined up for the potential game winner, but Canton able to get in to block it. And the Scarlet Hawks lose their hardest loss to take on the season as they fall to the Canton Bulldogs by a final score of 14-12. But an outstanding battle between these two teams here tonight. Milford will fall to 0-3 on the season. And Canton, after the hard-fought victory, will improve to 3-0. So a big thank you to all of our Milford TV crew on hand for this game here tonight. And I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time. Canton holds on to defeat the Milford Scarlet Hawks by a final score of 14-12. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.